going to talk about speech. So what are the different things that you need to consider when preparing a speech? What do you think?
So there are actually quite a number of things to consider, but I think the most important one is your audience. It's really important that you know who you are going to deliver the speech to. If you are going to give it to children, for example, then the way you deliver that speech would be entirely different if you were to give it to adults. And secondly, you also have to understand the space that you have. Are you allowed to move around, or are you only allowed to be in one spot? How big is the room? Do you have to shout? Are you allowed a microphone? Are you allowed to just use your own voice? So these all come into matter. And lastly is also, of course, your content. It's better that you know them by heart instead of reading them from the slides or from cue cards or teleprompters.
Okay, those are very important things. So the audience is important. You have to know who you're talking to, and then adjust your delivery. And then the space, like the location, if you could, how far you're gonna walk to the audience, and how big is the stage. And then last one is content, of course.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay. Maybe before going deeper about speech, what do you think is the difference between speech and then there's presentation? Can you maybe give us a little bit of explanation to that?
Right. So there really is a very thin line between a speech and presentation. A speech can be presentation, but not the other way around, I believe.
Okay.
So in a presentation, normally there is a visual aid, like PowerPoint slides, for example. And a speech, however, is only one-way communication. So the audience only listens, but in a presentation, the audience listens, but they also learn something at the same time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for explanation.
Sure.
Your audience can get bored,
right?
They can yawn in the middle of your speech. Do you have any tips on how to keep their attention?
Right, so I have a couple of ideas for that. First is to use anecdotes, especially funny ones, because then you would be engaging the audience more and they wouldn't be as bored. And the second thing is to ask random people, preferably of course those who are sleepy or yawning, and ask them any kinds of questions related to what you are saying. And then that would actually wake them up and bring them back to focus.
Okay, so anecdotes, preferably humor, maybe to get their attention. And then the second one is?
Random questions.
Random question to wake them
the
up.
Audience, yes.
Okay. Okay, so that's probably one of the things to engage them, right?
Yes.
Okay. Can you also explain to us briefly the structure of a speech? What do you think?
Well, what is a structure of a speech to you?
I think it's similar to any type of delivery of a message, whether it be presentation or a speech or an essay. There should be an organization, like an order for it. So probably, I think one of the most important things of your speech is the opening to hook your audience. I think that's what makes the audience want to keep on listening. So after the opening to hook your audience, and then there's this introduction, maybe like beginning and then middle and then end, the conclusion. So what do you think?
Yeah, so there's a reason why these structures are very widespread, because it's the most logical. So we start with an introduction, and then we have the content, and then we have the closing. So in my belief that there isn't any best way to structure your speech, because it's pretty logical to have it that way. But the most important thing is how you deliver the speech instead of the structure.
Okay.
But of course, your content should be in a logical order. So you wouldn't want to talk about dog and then suddenly you talk about a refrigerator. Like, what's the connection there? Yeah, maybe the dog opened the refrigerator, so there's a connection there. But if you just jump from dog to refrigerator, that would confuse the audience.